Hey guys, in this video I'm going to talk about creating a safe space. So I'm Daniel Norton, photographer here in New York. I make videos like this one. This one's going to be about philosophy. I make them about gear and technique. I've also got a series going now where I'm looking back some of my old work, talking about how I lit it and why. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, go ahead and subscribe. But in this video I'm going to talk about, and again, this is going to be more of a philosophical video. I'm not going to give you the top 10 ways to, although that would probably get more views. But anyways, I think the key to getting great portraits is for the person that you are photographing to give you that portrait. You can do all in your power, whether it be lighting, composition, having good equipment, whatever. You practice, you know the rule of thirds, you've got your Rembrandt lighting. Woo, it's windy, let's hope this thing doesn't fall over. And all that's great, but if the subject isn't comfortable, if the subject doesn't release and give to you something that has emotional impact, then the portrait itself will just be a well-lit, well-composed portrait. It won't be that portrait that really just, and we don't, and even then, sometimes it's hard for the subject. No matter what you do, right, we're going to talk about this a little bit, sometimes some subjects just can't. Right? They can't get to that space. Maybe the first time you photograph them, which is one reason why a lot of times when we are creating, let's say fashion photographers, when we're working on like what we call personal work, right? We often go back to the same people, right? You see, me, I use the same people a lot. It's like, how many portraits do I need of Erica, right? But at the same time, the more I work with her or anybody, the more likely it is that we're going to get to that place where there is this like real openness and trust and connection. It can happen the first time you meet somebody. I mean, I've photographed people that I've got. I think I maybe mentioned this once before. Actually, maybe I'll talk about that photo shoot at one point in depth since we're doing the other series. But this model came in and we had never met before, and we just clicked. I mean, it was an amazing shoot. Both of us, like after we did the work, we were like, wow, this is some of the best stuff we've ever done, individually. And we actually kind of like decided not to shoot again, because we felt like it could never be that good again. It was this weird moment where we were both like, we enjoyed it a lot, but like, I don't know we could do anything different or better. I mean, maybe I could now years later, but like at the time, a lot of times you photograph somebody and you get to this point, you're just like, oh man, come back next week, I want to photograph you some more. Because you're like, you feel like you're almost there, right? But you're not quite. That shoot, I mean, anyways, that's a total side topic. This is going to be about making people feel safe. And I think safety is key. This is why I'm using this word. I'm going to use this with my hand a lot because it's windy. I hope I'm blocking the microphone. When somebody feels safe and secure, they will open themselves up to you. And and this is really important. I guess this is, sorry, I know. I talk about this a lot, kind of abstractly, and this is where I'm going to try to nail it down a little bit more precisely for you guys. I would much rather have an image where somebody is expressing and is open and you feel connected to them than one that is perfectly composed, doesn't have the top of the head cut off or the elbow or this is there and that rule you learned in 1975 and this exposure and this ratio. Like, yeah, all that is important, right? All that stuff to keep in mind should be in the back of your head. You should kind of have that down. It's like I talked about this before, but like doing multiplication tables, right? It's like at a certain point, because you just do the tables over and over again, you just know, what certain ones are, and you can just look at the math and just do it. You're not recalculating it, you've memorized it, right? Your body or mind, I should say, just has this reaction. Same thing with your stuff. You look, you have to adjust, whatever composition you're looking through the camera, you're looking at the background. These are just things that come natural. But the reason why you want to master that stuff so you don't have to think about it is so that you can spend all your effort in connecting to that person in front of you, making them feel special, making them feel free, making them feel open, and making them feel safe. Because that is the key. And this is one reason why I talk in a negative manner a lot about when people ask me questions about like, how do you make people look less fat or whatever, or look skinny or look like they have. No, you don't. You try to make them feel comfortable with who they are. If you look at and I'll talk about celebrities because these are people, so if you look at any celebrities that are less than perfect, right? A lot of the best portraits of them are not when they're all glammed up on the front of a magazine. They're the ones that are intimate, where they're letting loose, where they are being themselves. They're not worried that they're a little overweight or that they, aren't whatever muscular enough, or or getting old or whatever. They're just loose and free, and those images are the ones that really grab us and suck us in. The glossy, processed, overly retouched stuff, yeah, it's got its place, I guess. It's it's not something I enjoy, but it doesn't. If somebody feels like they have to be something that they're not, then they'll never feel safe to be who they are. And what you want to do as a portrait photographer is let them be who they are, right? This is one reason why, I mean, obviously also because they're just cute, right? But this is one reason why, like, pictures of like babies and kids and stuff are so popular. You see everyone's, oh my God, so cute. That's because they're not self-conscious, right? They'll do silly things, they'll do weird things because they're not afraid, right? They haven't learned yet to be afraid of basically rejection, or afraid of people putting them down, or people thinking they're weird, or people not accepting them. Because children, hopefully, I mean, I guess I don't want to think about it. I know that some children don't feel this way, but, in general, children should feel completely safe. And this is why they are amazing subjects, to photograph, because they'll just do stuff, They'll do what's them. They do weird things. They don't think about how they're sitting. They don't think about, what faces they're making. They just do fun stuff because they want to do it. They enjoy themselves. They're very... They let loose the emotions, whether they be happy or sad or whatever, in huge bursts, and you don't see that in adults as much. You don't see adults just let it loose. And not to say that you have to have every subject jumping up and down and smiling or laughing or crying or doing whatever, but just the fact that they can feel okay with who they are, and that this interaction with you is a personal conversation, and it's a connection, and they trust that you're going to catch them in a way that is amazing and beautiful and represents them, and not so much in a way that they have to be represented. So, yeah, I think this is the key to great portraiture. I think when you look at some of the best portraits, whether they be of celebrities, whether they be of average people, as you want to say, whether they be of models, personal work people do, fine art portraits, those portraits that really stand out to us are the ones that allow us to truly connect with the subject. And generally speaking, those portraits are going to be the ones where the subject actually was able to be true to who they are in front of the camera. And in order for that to happen for most people, it takes us on the other end as the photographer to allow them to get there and to help them to get there. And yeah, I think this is the key. This has always been my philosophy on portrait photography. I think that, like I joke about things like, if something's not sharp, it's like, oh, it's not sharp. Some of the best photos ever taken are not sharp. Some of the best photos ever taken are not properly lit. Some of the best photos ever taken are not composed with 100% proper way, rule of thirds, or, spiral and the whole thing. They just have something in them that just really makes the viewer see that subject in a way that is true. And I mentioned this before, I think that truthfulness is a really important aspect of photography. It's something that we have, that we can do to certain degrees, So there you go. I mean, that's that. What do you guys think about that? I mean, what do you do? I mean, I didn't talk about specific techniques here because I think the top 10 list of doing that stuff is whatever. Because I feel like when you start talking about, this is also true of posing, you see me say that all the time, when you talk about very specific things, generally what you do for each person is going to be different, You need to, and that's really the key, right? The second that you take your top 10 lists of what to do to make people comfortable, you're not doing it right. Because you're looking at this list of things that's generic, and what the person that's in front of you is not generic. So, that being said, what's your top 10 list? No, let me know, guys, what are some of the things that you might do to let people feel that they can be themselves, or that they can, reveal themselves, we'll say, in a portrait for you. And, or if you think I'm total BS here and you don't think that's important and all the other technical stuff's more important, let me know that too. In any case, if you haven't already, go ahead, subscribe, and ring the bell so you get notifications. And I'll see you next time.